Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kayla, and I guess I just kind of started filming to maybe work on like a reading vlog for the next like week or two. I don't know, it's hard for me right now to like sit down and film like a planned video. It's like a vlog. But I thought maybe I could do something like casual. And last time I did a reading vlog, I think it really helped me kind of read the books that I said I was going to read, although this one is definitely going to be less like, here are the books I'm reading in this reading vlog, and more like, let's see if I can finish a single fucking book, you know? So what am I reading right now? So I'm reading a lot of stuff because like my brain is all over the place. Mostly trying to stick to reading stuff on my Kindle and my library books, even though like my physical books are so tempting. But let's see, I've been making semi-decent progress in Clockwork Angel, but I did just find the audiobook. So maybe that'll help. Yeah, hopefully that'll help. But I'm like listening to multiple other audiobooks. Like I'm listening to the audiobook for The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager, which I tried to read the physical book in like late January, early February, and ended up kind of like soft DNFing it. Like I wasn't like really connecting with it. It was due back to the library, so I was like, whatever. And then I requested the audiobook on Libby because I was like, I find that sometimes with thrillers, an audiobook actually works better for me because it's like, sometimes I kind of like accidentally read ahead a little bit in a physical book, and that can obviously really ruin things. Like just accidentally letting my eyes like catch on to like the other page and seeing like a reveal. But I like hate the narrator, so I don't really like it. The only character I liked was Catherine, who disappears pretty early in the book. I don't need like a main character to be like a main female character to be like likable or like easily digestible or anything like that, or good. I just need her to not be like borderline insufferable. And I feel like this girl, whose name I can't remember right now, is like borderline insufferable. And like I have a lot of sympathy for like alcoholism, but like get a grip. But yeah, I think I'm gonna kind of push through to about the 50% mark, and if I'm still feeling the same way, then I'll just like be like, nope, not for me, DNF. I feel like around that point is when you're kind of like, no, this isn't. On my Kindle, I've been reading the like arc that I got from NetGalley of Hello Stranger by Catherine Senner, and I'm only like 5 or 6% of the way through that, but I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely just kind of like a rom-com kind of setup vibe with a little sprinkling of family trauma. So, you know, that's what I love. And then, have I actually read any of those Kindle Unlimited books that I said I was going to? No. But to be fair, it is only March 7th, so I have like most of the month. And mostly I've been trying to catch up on schoolwork because with everything going on in my personal life with my cat and everything, just the idea of like sitting down and like getting on Blackboard and like doing schoolwork, I take like online classes, was just miserable. So I'm like, it's currently like week 6 of the semester, and I just turned in the assignment for week 3. So I'm hoping by the end of this week to get the assignment for, it's like bi-weekly kind of assignments, get the assignment. We don't have like late, there's no like punishment for being late with anything other than like the final paper at the end of the semester. So I did the week 2-3 assignment. It was like a combined thing. And then hopefully at the end of this week, I'll have the week 4-5. So then I'm like, if I get the week like 6-7 assignment due next week, then I'm totally like on track. So, but yeah. And then I also get like, thankfully, things like being a week behind is that like, for me, that's kind of like on track because the school has really great like accessibility accommodation setup things. So I have like a support plan for my ADHD where I get like an extra week to turn in all assignments basically. So that's great. But yeah. And then the other thing, this is totally like scandalous to me. Like if you had asked me like what booktube, book talk, book world, popular book, now that you're doing booktube, like are you probably never gonna read? My answer, honestly my two answers would have been Cassandra Clare and A Core of Thorns and Roses. And I'm currently reading and really enjoying Clockwork Angel. And I don't think I'm gonna be like a Mortal Instruments girly, but I think that the first two like prequel series, like the Clockwork one, Infernal Devices, and then whatever the Chain of Thorns kind of thing is, those sound really interesting. That sounds like my thing, but like modern day, not interested. No. But so yeah, so Cassandra Clare and ACOTAR, and I've been watching just like for mindless fun, Carrie can read her like ACOTAR like plot summary or whatever, and I was like, okay, like the first one like sounds kind of funny or whatever, but it wasn't really, didn't sound like a thing that I would be interested in. And then I started watching her one for like A Court of Mist and Fury, and I was like, wait, that sounds interesting. So I don't know, it's just kind of mindless. I'm like 12% of the way through it. I like Feyre. Like I think she's just really cool. She's just like kind of a surprisingly badass like female main character. I kind of assumed the way, I don't know, the way people only ever talk about the men in a way, like I kind of thought she was going to be like more of like a weaker, not like physically or emotionally weak, but just like weak as in like less developed. But I think she's like pretty well developed. I do wish that she would just like stop throwing up 24/7. Like she needs to, like, do they not have like fairy Pepto-Bismol or something? Like she needs to get it together. But also, you know, trauma. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be like an ACOTAR girly. Maybe when like, if I enjoy this one and I go through reading the rest of them, if I get to the end, I can like go back and reread ACOTAR, like knowing how it ends. Cause it's also just so weird because I know that like they're not the ship. So I'm like, I don't want to get like invested. I know a lot of, I like read people be like, they got invested in that relationship and then all of a sudden he's like the villain or whatever. I don't think he's like the villain, I don't know. But just like all of a sudden there's like a love triangle and you're like rooting against him or whatever, was like kind of jarring for them because they're like, I spent like 500 pages getting attached to this guy and now like this bat boy comes out of nowhere. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm just really into kind of like not needing to use my brain that much right now. And I think, yeah, that's been good. Okay, I'm gonna stop filming. I probably won't like film again today. Tomorrow I'm getting a haircut and I have literally no idea what I'm doing. I just hate everything I have going on here, so need to fix that. But maybe I'll like show it off after. And there's a Barnes & Noble right next to it, which like I don't need to buy books, but I can like look at them and like tell them that I'm thinking about them, right? Okay, that's the end of this clip. Okay, popping in for a little reading update. It is next day, 2 days later. Who knows? This is such an all over the place vlog. Who knows? But I mentioned I was getting my hair done and I did that, and yeah, might mess up the white balance because it's like so blonde. But yeah, it was just like, I just went in and I was like, I just want something different. I my cat died and I just need something bright and warm and fun. It looks a little more on like the cool tone side, but in real life I promise it's definitely very warm. I've been clipping my hair back on my face. I've been trying to like not put my hair in like ponytails and stuff all the time and like use little jaw clips more. But the hilarious thing about this haircut, well, hair color, is that I kind of match my cat. Like, and then look at me, like, oops. But, oh, this, I think I mentioned that there was like a new sideboard bookshelf thing coming, and it is this. So it's like this really cool blue color, and it has like, it's like really sturdy instead of being kind of like crappy IKEA furniture. And there's like a little shelf down there that we were like, that could be kind of a bookshelf when we need it. We don't currently need it, but there's like library books on the top of it. Not too many library books, but is that a Santa? No, that's a humidifier. But yes, so reading update. Let's see. I think I'm gonna temporarily DNF House Across the Lake. It just hasn't, I don't ever want to pick it up. I don't want to listen to it. I think I've got to do the physical book just because the narrator's voice is so incredibly irritating to me. So I'm gonna have to get that back from my library, but I'm refusing to allow myself to go to the library this month. So earliest April, but I'm kind of busy in April. So, you know, maybe I'll just save it. It's kind of like, I think if the book takes place in like September, October, maybe I'll wait till September, October to read it when I'm like more in the mood. Or maybe it's just not for me. Or maybe it is, but not this narrator. Who knows? Other than that, mostly I've been reading A Court of Mist and Fury, which is a wild experience. Like, to be like, I don't know, I think the way, it just got like dark. The way the books Sarah J. Maas has talked about gives you this idea of the books that isn't inaccurate, but I also would argue is not the full picture of what is in the books. I think that people just kind of talk about the sex. People are like, they're so spicy, they're so sexy. And it's like, there was one actual sex scene in this book. Everything else has been like a brief mention or whatever. But yeah, like there's, I don't know, I just thought it was gonna, and it's definitely, the romance is the focus, not the fantasy. I think what's like the craziest thing to me is that like, yeah, it's, everyone talks about like the steam and like how sexy everyone is or whatever. And I'm just like, this book is honestly like about so much more than that. Like the way that it's really like so much of like what Feyre is going through is just like about like trauma. And like, I really thought that like everything with her and Tamlin, like I didn't read the first book, but I watched the recap and everything. Like I kind of thought that like the point of everything that was happening at the beginning of Court of Mist and Fury was like kind of turning him into like an abusive villain almost. But it just kind of becomes very clear that the way she talks about him and thinks about him is that what it's really about is almost kind of like the opposite of trauma bonding. This idea that like these people went through something incredibly traumatic and like the way they're dealing with it is so different that it now makes them incompatible. And I think that's like really interesting to explore, that it's like, yeah, he is doing these things that like just on their face are abusive, but Feyre is able to understand that like he's just coping with his trauma really badly, and in some ways can't, because he watched her die, he can't like wrap his head around like that she's not still that fragile little thing. And maybe there's more going on and maybe I'm wrong. I'm not gonna like super get into it and like spoil the book. It's not a Court of Mist and Fury reading vlog, except it might actually accidentally be. But like, yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. I just feel like Feyre especially like doesn't get talked about enough. Like maybe I'm just gay. Like maybe this is just like me being bisexual and being like, let's talk about the girl more. Yeah, like the guys are hot or whatever. Like Reese. Oh my God. And I really think that, did I say this already? I don't know. I really feel like what I really love about their building thing is that like they remind me a lot of on Once Upon a Time, the TV show Captain Swan, where like, yeah, they were like enemies to lovers kind of, but there was this, I don't always love enemies to lovers, but Captain Swan is like my favorite fictional couple of all time, because it's like enemies who there's always, especially from Hook, there's this like respect there. And like, yeah, sometimes like he's still an asshole, but like you can tell that he like respects Emma's like strength and her power and like views her like as an equal in a lot of ways, and like that they've been through a lot of shit but not like the exact same shit, and like it goes from like enemies to like friends and allies and then lovers. I feel like so many enemies to lovers. Like I don't want to see people hate fucking, I guess. Like I want to see people who hate each other learn to like respect and care about each other and become friends. And I don't know, I'm like, am I like a ACOTAR girly if I never read the first book? Am I like an ACOMAF girly? Like, is that like but yeah. Okay, let's let Romy say goodbye. There you are. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, you can go back to sleep now. I'm sorry. Okay, I just got back from grocery shopping. That's why I'm like sitting on the kitchen floor, and the lighting in here is like horrendous. It's like horrible overhead lighting. Whatever, but wanted to give a reading update. Still reading Court of Mist and Fury. That's really all my little brain has been able to process. I just started part 3, so I'm not like gonna do spoilers. I'm more gonna do like discussion of themes and vibes. I don't really know. Like I'm not gonna talk about like the plot, but I'm gonna talk about like kind of why this book has completely taken over my brain right now, because like I feel like the more I read and slash listen, I've been going back and forth, the more I'm kind of like realizing like what it's doing for me right now. And because like straight up, like there are problems. I'm not going to deny the fact that there are. Like I'll probably talk about it more when I finish it and when I start like another book or whatever, but like I would love to not hear the word male or female ever fucking again. Like what is that? Like why can't you just, is it because they're fairies so they're not like men? But they say like girls and boys and then they're like males, and it's just that weirdo mating thing, like the mates thing. If you read the book, I'm in part 3, so the mates thing has come up, which like I actually don't have a problem with that. Like I'm not like, I'm kind of neutral on the whole soulmate fated mate thing. I love soulmates when it's like through time and space, like, you know, but I'm not crazy about it when it's like a heteronormative mating ritual kind of vibe. Yeah, so the problems that everybody talks about, it's very heteronormative. Like there's no real like explanation or discussion of, can like someone's fated mate be another man or another woman or whatever. But I mean, I guess there's no discussion that it can't be, so you could imagine that it could be. But then it's just like a lack of diversity, and just that the thing that writers do where it's like his golden skin, and I'm like everyone in the Night Court, the Illyrians, like I feel like they're very clearly in my head kind of meant to be at the very least kind of Southern European looking, if not like Middle Eastern, you know? But it's just like his golden skin and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, all right, you could just say like that he's brown. Or then like even what, like Tarquin on Summer Court, like that man is clearly black, like in my head. But I'm like, there are probably people out there, because he's just described as like dark, but then he has like white hair or whatever, who picture this like tanned guy. And like it could just be a tanned guy. So it's just like, I don't know, I feel like in the 21st century, like we can have diversity in a fantasy world. Fairies can be black explicitly. I don't know. But then also like, I don't want straight white ladies writing my like black queer fantasy either. So I don't know. It's just, but anyway, enough dragging on it. Like, look back at this when I give it 5 stars and I'm gonna wrap up, okay? But like, it's just, I don't know, it's just like, to me, the books, and obviously it's like your mileage may vary as far as like whether it like connects with you, because like everyone's experience with like mental health and trauma is like completely different, but so much of the way that like Feyre feels is so relatable, and like how I felt in the past when I was younger and dealing with like a lot of mental health struggles, and also like how I felt recently with like my cat dying, where I've just been like straight up, like it's kind of sad to talk about, but I've been like incredibly freaking depressed about my cat dying, and just the parts of like her not feeling anything, and like the parts where she's like being like mad is better than like the nothing. And I don't know, it's just very relatable. And I know that like Reese is like a dick or whatever, or as she calls him every 3 pages, prick. I was gonna say, are we children? And then I remember that she is literally like 20 years old. So yeah, we are, which, don't even get me started on this 600-year-old man and this 20-year-old woman. It's fine, like, whatever. Like, weird feminist thing that this author thinks she's doing sometimes with like, you desecrated this woman, I'm gonna kill you, or whatever. But I don't know, it's just like connecting. I don't know, I'm just like, it made me cry because it's just like so relatable. I don't know, I have to go. Okay, I'm like sitting down to film because I realized I don't actually have like an end to this, what turned into ACOMAF reading vlog, and that's kind of important. I don't know if I even have an intro, who knows, but the outro, ending, conclusion is kind of the point right now. So yeah, it's been a couple days. I don't know, time is meaningless, but I finished ACOMAF, and again, like talking about the end of the book without spoiling it, it's a little difficult. So let's see, what can I really say that I haven't said before? I was like editing the video the other day, and like I like talk a lot, so this is probably gonna end up being like a 30-minute vlog reading one book when I meant it to be like a vlog reading other books. But you know, it happens and it's kind of fun. But yeah, I'm actually saving A Court of Wings and Ruin. I'm trying to save that. I already have it like downloaded on my Kindle and like the audiobook like favorited, but until I have a flight to California in like 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks. So I'm gonna save it for that because that's like a miserable 6-hour flight or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I need something nice and distracting. But yeah, final thoughts. Okay, so overall, the book was really good. I think, okay, like number one, the writing. I would say that the writing is on par, like on the same level of like a really good young adult novel. I think it's hard, like when I've been reading a lot of young adult kind of fantasy right now, and I wouldn't say that Sarah J Maas is like as good of a writer as like Leigh Bardugo. I think that some of the emotional things can like feel surface level or not really make sense all the time, and some of the pacing issues are a little whatever, and like the world building is good, but it's not like things I've never seen before, you know? But like just like writing wise, I really kind of expected her to be like absolute trash, because I had read maybe like 6 months, a year ago, like somebody posting like a snippet from like ACOTAR, like making fun of it or whatever, and like it was like that. But like I know that she kind of like wrote even that like before it got published, so you can definitely see like her writing has gotten better. But I don't love the way she writes sex, but I don't know if I love the way anyone writes sex. Sex scenes, smut, all of that is just like, as long as it's not horrifically cringy, I'm fine. And I didn't find it like, you know, like chapter 55 or whatever. Like I didn't find it like, I wasn't like embarrassed reading it, but I was also like, glad I'm reading this and not listening to the audiobook, you know? But yeah, I think she was a good writer. I think like marinating on it a lot. And I think that like her world building is fine, her writing is fine, but the characters are really good. And I know some people have some problems with the characters, and I won't pretend there aren't problems, like obviously the lack of diversity, and I know a lot of people mention that like everyone just like fights away their trauma or whatever, and like stuff like that. It's a lot of like big speeches that like don't feel super genuine. Like this isn't how people have conversations. But I feel like, I mean, things like that happen in like fiction in general, like the big dramatic speeches, and especially I feel like in fantasy, where like there often needs to be a lot more like exposition of stuff. I feel like that can kind of happen, but yeah, I think the characters are really interesting. They're not like physically diverse or what, I mean, in my head they are, like they're, but like if that's not reality, it doesn't count. I don't get to give her points for what I'm picturing if it's not on the page. But I think there's like a lot of different like types of characters. Like I don't feel like anybody's like a carbon copy of anyone else. Like Moore is like a little bit of like kind of like a bitch, but she's nothing like Nesta, who's much more of like kind of like a cold bitch, because she just like has these walls up because she loves people too much. But like Moore really lets people in. She's just kind of like a sassy little bitch, you know? Or like the three like bad boys, like none of them are the same. Like they all clearly have like different traumas and different ways of like expressing that trauma and all of that. And obviously, I don't know, I think Feyre's the friggin' best. Like I don't know, I don't ask a lot of my female main characters. I'm just kind of like, I just want you to be like cool, fun, I don't know. And I'll just kind of like go with it. And I obviously like the emotional place I was in reading it. Like I think that is really important, and I think it really has made me think a lot about the different kinds of books that you need at different points in your life, and this idea that like just because someone says they loved a book that you hate like doesn't mean that their opinion is like invalid, or that it means they're like stupid, or it means that they don't understand like that there are problems with that book or whatever. Like I hated like It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, but like I don't think that someone who loves it is automatically like stupid or whatever. Like there are reasons that people love those things, like, and yeah, I think we spend a lot of time like telling people that like, if you like this thing, this is what I think of you. And I think that's problematic. Yeah, I think we spend a lot of time passing judgment on other people based on little things. I feel like I have a lot of bookish rants within me. I haven't talked to the camera in days. But in conclusion, yeah, I think that if you like romantasy or whatever, like fantasy romance, or you're intrigued by the genre, or like if you were really into like young adult fantasy, like if you were like a big Twilight girl or a big Cassandra Clare girl or whatever, and you're looking for something a little more adult, but also like it definitely has like guilty pleasure kind of vibes to the whole thing. Like it's just very like relaxing, but also like cathartic and like, I don't know, to read. I would definitely recommend, I can only recommend ACOMAF, you know, like, but I feel like ACOTAR isn't that long. It's, I think, like 400 pages. So like if you want to start with that. But you could also just watch Carrie Can Read's video summary if you're like, who's this Tamlin guy? I don't care. It's like, I got to the end of the book and like, I still don't care. Like, sorry, like you suck. But yeah, I think it's just fun, and I think it's popular for a reason. And for a while I thought that reason was that people have really low standards for fantasy romance and they just want to read smut. And now I'm starting to think that maybe the reason is because some people find something in it that like connects with them, because I know I did. Okay. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you watch this not having read A Court of Mist and Fury or any of that, and you were just like, what is happening to this girl in front of me? If you're one of my friends or family and you're like, is she really posting like a 30-minute vlog about this weird fantasy romance fairy Batwing book? The answer is yes, because she lost her mind, because February and March have been weird months, and that's on mental illness. But thank you so much for watching, and subscribe if you want to see what I think of Court of Wings and Ruin when I read it in a month, because I'll try and do like a vlog with that. Maybe I'll do like a reading ACOWAR at Coachella vlog. I won't like literally be reading it like sitting in a field like with like Boy Genius on stage or whatever, but you know what I mean. But yeah, thank you, bye.